tell you another story about this guy who pulls a rope without any ropes. Once upon a time, in a far-off land where icy winds blew and the smell of iron hung in the air, lived a puppeteer whose hands were always stained with oil and ink. This puppeteer's name was Dennis, and he didn't make wooden puppets like the others. He wove threads that bound together people's ambitions, pains, and deepest fears. Beside Dennis, there worked a chef whose heart was stormy. Boris the cook was a man whose soul was enveloped in a turquoise darkness, whose childhood tears he had shed into his soup. Dennis saw the poison within this man, but instead of curing him, he wanted to use that poison as fuel for a larger machine. Dennis the puppeteer slowly lengthened the strings. One day it whispered a lie, and the next day it extinguished the fire on the cook's favorite stove. While Boris's mind was collapsing like an incubus, Dennis merely watched, for he needed the old king's downfall to ascend to the throne of a great empire. The puppeteer orchestrated like a conductor the transformation of Boris into a monster, and his subsequent disappearance within the dark costume he had created with his own hands. But the strings were heavier than he had anticipated. When Boris's spirit became Golden Freddy, Dennis's strings were now covered in turquoise ice. Years passed, and Dennis had everything, but he couldn't control anything. Finally, where the tale ends, the puppets at the ends of the strings came to life, and all whispered in unison, "Those who build kingdoms on the suffering of others are doomed to perish beneath the ruins of that kingdom." Now Dennis is sitting in his dark office, waiting for his own strings to tighten around his throat, because he's no longer a puppeteer, but the leading actor in his own hell.